And I would like to just start with everyone just lying down flat on your back. Have a little support for your pelvis if you would like. And just open your legs so both feet are roughly to the corners of the room, and arms are going to be over the head, and same thing. So very much like a spread eagle with the hands towards the corners and the feet towards the corners. So the body's just wide open and relaxed. I'd just like to open with this a very beautiful Buddhist proverb that is really underlying the energy and the knowing of the yoga of Advaita Vedanta. There is Buddha for those who don't know what he is. There is no Buddha for those who know what he is. And so as you're relaxing and resting here, one of the primary things that we're doing, and often this is whether we know it or not, and oftentimes our awareness will get concentrated in different aspects of our experience, but the underlying thing that we're doing is we're assessing the energy patterns of our body, the background field of our body. So this is the energy that is holding everything. It's holding your mental processes, your emotional tone, all of the variations of the physical sensations arising. And this takes a slowing and a quieting down. So we're slowing down and we're quieting down to be able to begin to really assess the energy patterns of the body, this background music or this background field. And so two things that we do. The first thing that we do is we just quiet the physical body so we can really begin to feel these deeper energy patterns. This is one of the most important ways that you can explore yourself. And very often we're so habituated to exploring the content of the experience. What is that pain in my lower back, and what is that obsessive thought, and what is that preoccupation of my heart? And certainly nothing wrong with that. But we have a great capacity to go much deeper. So the quieting down is our willingness and our openness and just our relaxing into these deeper energy patterns that we do not need to, even energy patterns is too much language. Once we start feeling it, the language becomes quite superficial. And then from this quiet, open, relaxed place, this is when we then begin to compress. Yes, we move into positions, we move into asana, and we compress and we listen. So we, again, do that very quietly, very mindfully, but the whole time, whether we're lying here relaxing and sinking in and starting to feel, starting to intuit these deeper energy patterns, this background field, we do the same thing when we're compressing and listening, that we're not so interested in the structure or aesthetic. We're interested in this vibratory nature of body, mind, heart, and spirit. So just take a few breaths and just allow yourself just to genuinely relax into this background field of your energy patterns. Now the meditation of yoga. So before you come up and we begin moving, what I would simply like you to do is you can bring the legs back in and bring the arms forward. And what I'm going to suggest and recommend is to bring the knees up to the chest. And either two choices here, you can either just hold on to the shins below the knees and just gently pull the knees towards the chest on the inhale and release on the exhale. Another nice way to do this, if this is accessible to you, is you can cross at the ankles and then take the left hand and grab the edge, the outside edge of the right foot, and take the right hand and grab the outside edge of the left foot. And you can kind of scissor the legs in and relax them back out. So I'm suggesting to inhale, pulling everything in, and then exhale, releasing everything. So the exhalation being the letting go, relaxing breath is in rhythm with the letting go of any pressure you're applying. And you can sway the hips a little bit if you'd like. So it's just a gentle kind of pumping feeling of pulling everything in and then releasing everything out, either holding the sides of the feet in this scissor position, or it works just as well if you're holding on to the shins below the knees and just pulling the knees up and in, inhale, and then just let all that air out when you exhale. Just kind of pull and pump, and you can make little circle eights with your hips and your pelvis. A very interesting and sensitive and delicate territory down here in this lumbar sacral pelvic area. So sometimes it's nice just to, just to approach it in such a simple way and really let the body know you're beginning to approach it and listen to it and honor it and respect it, and not try to judge it or fix it, but just simply be present with your experience the way it is. Good. So on the next exhale, you can just release and relax the legs out. And then let's come on up. We're going to have to come up for this, but we're going to go back down. And what I would suggest that you do is take a towel or a blanket and just make yourself a nice little roll here. Maybe you can see this, but I was using this roll and it kind of got flattened out a little bit. So if you can make the roll nice and tight, and then the height of the roll will be really dependent on the sensitivity of your lower back. So we're just going to compress the roll into the lumbar. So something like this, really small roll will work. I'm going to go a little past halfway because I know that that works for me. I'm using a towel here, but you could use a blanket. So it's soft, but it's also a bit firm. And then very simply, we're going to just sit on the floor and place this towel from side to side, just horizontally across the body, keeping the buttocks on the floor, keeping the feet on the floor, and then just come to your forearms, your elbows, your hands. Make sure this is good, because as you then gently lower the upper body, you'll see that compression will start to seep in. Assess whether it's appropriate, whether you need to lessen or go a little bit more. It's up to you. And then last thing is to let the legs relax out. And you can just let them relax out about at the hip width, maybe a little bit wider. And we'll just stay here for a bit. And then we're going to work a little bit deeper into the hips and the psoas. But just let's let this start to, permeate into any resistance of that lumbar spine, any fascial restrictions, things like that. So as you're acclimating to this pressure and just, feeling it, relaxing, assessing, allow yourself to continue the process of quieting as well. We don't need to get involved with all of this internal dialogue, which most of it is just habit. The internal dialogue is just being triggered, and it's just really trying to pull memories, pull what was, or project forward what it thinks it's going to happen. This is why the imagery of these energy patterns of your body is so valuable, because it means nothing, but we can start to feel that. We can start to feel like, oh yes, my breathing is connected to a movement in my lower body, a resistance or a discomfort in that left upper small place in my lower lumbar is connected to someplace in my shoulder. And I'm not saying literally, I'm saying at the level of these energy patterns. And it's these energy patterns that really make up who you are. At the level of the psyche, at the level of your emotions, and at the level of your body. And so from here, with this roll under your lumbar, just keep the left leg extended right where it is, and just simply draw that left foot up. So the sole of the foot is going to be placed somewhere along the inside of that right leg. It doesn't matter where. You'll feel the weight of that knee. So the knee leg is now falling to the left side. Just let it shift all the way down so you feel that weight of it. If indeed this doesn't feel safe, then you can put something under that left thigh just to make it safe. But you can experiment with that. You can remove that, put it back in. So we should feel this pulling, this sort of biotensegrity pulling in different parts of the hip. Certainly the at least for me, it's pulling up into my piriformis, a little bit on the psoas. So just draw the weight of that leg up, let it relax to the left, and we'll stay here for a bit. And then whatever breathing pattern the posture itself is evoking, your relationship to any discomfort. So the body, the posture, the discomfort will all evoke a breathing pattern. Yeah, and this is sometimes below our conscious awareness, but we can bring our conscious awareness to it. So my suggestion is to just simply remember and just explore that the exhalation is to relax. The exhalation is to let go. So whatever you're involved with, whatever is being evoked, fine, let it arise and be present with it, but then let the rhythm be very natural and let it go on the exhale. Really feel like you're embracing and taking advantage of the release of the exhale, and then the inhale, it all sort of washes back in. Good. So let's relax that left leg out. And let's just be with this for a moment. So we really want to, I was going to say enjoy. You can enjoy it. I do enjoy it, the release of that compression. But more important than the enjoyment is uh, the staying with the transformation from the compression to the release. So this is what I was saying earlier when we're exploring our energy patterns. First, we quiet the energy of the body, and then we compress and we listen. So we're listening not only to the compression, hopefully not defining it only as discomfort, but then we're also listening to the release. So left leg stays relaxed out, and then the right leg, so the inner sole of that right foot, somewhere along the length of that left leg, and then just let that whole right leg drift off to the side, bolster it up if the hip needs it. Maybe make a note, this feels a little different than the other side. Make sure you're still good in the lumbar, and we'll just relax. And maybe let me attempt to be a little more clear, because I felt like maybe I was saying two things there, which are not really two things. But what I'm saying, I'm not simply saying to relax your body. Yeah, so we can hear this, many, many times, and sometimes we can consciously do it. It's just a tricky statement because we cannot try to relax. What I'm suggesting is to bring it in a little bit deeper or a lot deeper and actually start to quiet the energy of your body, this background field that is often holding a sort of a humming of anxiety. It's holding a vibration of tension. So not the muscles, not the fascia, not the bones, the joints, but the energy that's holding all of these structures. The energy that is your fundamental, primal aliveness. Let that energy, these energy patterns, this, just let it relax, quiet and relax. Good. So you can relax the leg out. So both legs are now relaxed out. And let us then bring the legs back in, bend the knees, put the feet on the floor, and just elevate the hips and slide that roll out wherever you have it. And you can pretty much stay lying down for this next part. So what I would like you to do is take the roll and just place it under your neck. So not the back of the head, but so the chin can be elevated up. So this is actually perfect. I didn't have to change my roll. You might have to change your roll. You might have to unroll or roll up. Ideally, the back of the head is just grazing the floor. It doesn't even have to touch. But the chin, yes, you can see this. The chin is a little bit higher than the forehead. Yeah, so this is supporting hopefully the natural curve of the upper spine. Yep. And then keep both feet on the floor. So both feet are flat on the floor. The back of the neck is supported with the roll. And then just very gently turn your head to the left as far as you can without forcing it. And then just let it settle in there. So now that roll is really supporting the left side of the neck. The feet are flat on the floor, and we're going to let the knees go over to the right. Head to the left, knees over to the right, and a twist. Let the arms relax out, keeping this left shoulder on the floor. And then just adjust the legs just wherever you feel that this is most appropriate for this reclining twist. And just take a moment to observe that we're twisting, obviously, from this lumbar area, and the twist is spiraling up and then going the other way into the cervical area. So just settle into this. This is an interesting twist to twist the spine at both ends. And this is, obviously where your spine has the most mobility is the cervical and the lumbar. And then the mobility changes drastically in between in the thoracic spine. So just relax here for some time. So then what becomes just, incredibly fascinating, and this is really a way for self-inquiry and self-study. So once we do begin to fully and authentically and deeply relax and start to feel these deeper energy patterns, so we can feel very open, yes, and we can feel where the energy is flowing freely. But typically what happens is we we have blockages, we have traumas that get imprinted into these energy patterns. They tighten up, they become dense. And very often, what happens is when then we approach these blockages, instead of being able to just stay with this and keep relaxing and almost breathing them slowly open, these places that have become imprinted then trigger something. Yes, they'll trigger an emotion, they'll trigger a physical contraction, they'll trigger some memory. And then before we know it, we have spiraled out of the body, the energy patterns, and we're then off into a memory. We're off into a physical contraction that we want to diagnose. And so this is nothing that you have to fix. This is what you're exploring. This is the yoga. Is be able to feel when this energy starts to congest, when you're leaning into resistance, and then what reverberates out from that. How is your body, mind, heart trying to either disassociate from what you're feeling at this deeper level, or suppress it, or fix it? So very, very beautiful way. This is why we go so slowly, and we encourage gentleness. We encourage us moving in with as much, respect for this process as possible. Okay, let's bring the legs back up, and you can turn that head back to a neutral spine. And you may want to, while the upper spine is neutral over the roll, just let the knees go back and forth a couple of times. Just have a few sways. Good. And then when you're ready, obviously, same thing for the other side. We'll just bring the head over to the right. So we're looking towards that right hand. Both arms are relaxed out. And then we'll let the legs go to the left this time. And again, where you place the legs, it's up to you. You can work that top foot to the side a little bit. You can, just whatever twist works for you. It's lovely to just come into a simple position this way. And then we'll just keep the head off to the right. So where the roll is now on the more the right side of the neck. And again, we're feeling that a spiraling of the twist from lower to upper and upper to lower. So anytime you do feel a physical contraction, you feel that the emotional body is starting to intensify, you feel a being drawn into the mental energy of thoughts and images, nothing to do with that except relax back into your energy. As we try to fix it, we're encouraging it, we're feeding it. And there's certainly a time and a place to deal with what gets triggered, but this is not it. This is to see this relationship between the deeper energy patterns and how they get tightened and blocked. And when we ease into them, what appears to us. So it's a continual rising of these energies and and it's a continual relaxing back in just to the ocean of the body, the emptiness of the vibration, the spaciousness of your being. Good. So once again, let's bring the head back so the spine is nice and straight and neutral. Bring the legs back up from the reclining twist. You can straighten the legs out. And very gently, be careful when you're moving the roll from the back of the neck, just very, very sensitive area. So don't just bring the head up thinking that's the way to do it. What I would do is I would just keep the weight of the head and just slide the roll forward and then let the head be supported by the floor, just to be safe. And then let the legs relax out, relax the arms, and we'll just rest for a bit before we move on. And I think one of the the important things about being able to assess yourself at this undefinable deep layer of energy patterns is that we can also then start to really trust that fundamentally there's nothing wrong. It's just simply an exploration of the movement of energy. And energy can become dense, energy can collect, energy can be blocked through these pathways. So the yoga then is coming back to a sense of balance, coming back to a sense of just greater flow. The yoga is not about diagnosing, it's not about fixing. This is what I say over and over, it's about feeling these patterns, feeling the movement of the energy. And then the wisdom of your body will then, if you're able to do this, if you're able to really sit and honor this and feel it, and really feel what's happening where you come up to these densities and these blockages, then the intuitive wisdom of your body will guide you to what's needed, what's the next layer to undo them. So the quieting of the energy patterns of the body, the quieting of the background field, and then gentle compression and listening. So all three of those are very important. And the listening then is a listening for whatever is revealed, not with an intention, but whatever is revealed. And this can be very nonlinear and very interesting. Okay, so let's come on up, and I would like you to have either your large bolster nearby or something with equivalent height, a couple of pillows, yeah, or folded blanket, but just something we're gonna use for support. So have that nearby, and then we'll just sit with both legs out. And I'd like to come just briefly into a shoelace pose. We're kind of gonna really contract the hips, really torque into them, and then we're going to open them a bit. But don't let this posture be so awkward that you're not still able to relax. So just set it up in a very loose way. So with the left leg out, we'll take the right leg and bring it under that left knee. And we're just going to bring that right foot back towards the left hip, but try not to sit on the heel on this left side. And then we'll just take the left leg and bring it up and over, again, back towards that right hip. but don't worry so much about aligning the knees and having to bring them together. So I would just like this setup to be as loose as you can make it. And if this is not possible for you, you can just let the left leg relax out and do the half version of it. Yeah. But like I said, we won't hold this for a ridiculously long time. Although I know sometimes all the holes seem ridiculously long, but we'll try to avoid that. And even here, you can use your pillows or bolster. What I like to do, since obviously we're not just torquing hips, but we're torquing knees and what's going on in the lumbar spine. So I like to put something forward and then support the initial weight coming in. So I can really relax the back of the neck and then just come to a position where as soon as I feel the torquing and the tugging, I'm going to slow down into the first layers of sensation. I'm not interested in anything beyond these first layers of sensation. That will just be naturally revealed. So the support up front, it sometimes is really nice. And then you may not need that. You may at some point go to your hands or your even down to your forearms, but we start out with some support. So just come forward and relax into this. And I do encourage you to start to explore your relationship with your body as a creative one. Sometimes we can forget the source of our creativity, and we can begin to think that just because we have a specific talent or a specific interest, that there's an individual me, I, that's creative, and I get to then express that creativity in a certain context. That's very limited. Yes, that's a very limited uh, exploration of our creativity. What yoga is really offering us is to relax and to become quiet and to really allow this sense of I, this habit of I, of me, this ego identification, to just take a rest and begin to cultivate the body as truly a vessel, and that as we open and relax these energy patterns, these pathways throughout the body, the nadis, these pathways of experience that are energetic, that the source of creativity, consciousness itself, can express itself through this vehicle. So yes, on some level, we're opening up the pathways of physicality just to feel good and to have range of motion, but the source of creativity is coming through this physical vehicle. And the more the pathways are open, the more these energy patterns are free, the creativity of source of consciousness gets to express through that. And then we're not even really there. We're not responsible. So we just allow the mind, heart, body, spirit to express what source is wanting to express through our unique and individual um, vessel. Okay, so let's come on up from here. Oh, yeah, yeah. And then let's open the legs out. Yeah, just for a moment, just to relax everything. And if you're thinking that was a ridiculously long time, I totally understand. Yeah, but we're going to go back into it, like I said, in a little bit more open way. So have your bolster. Now we'll use the pillows or the bolster and bend that right foot back in front of you. So just in front of your body, and then put the pillows or the bolster in front. And then we'll take that left leg and we'll put it up on it. So if you're using pillows, just try to approximate the height of the bolster. This is meant to be a bit exaggerated, this left leg up, really pulling the angle of the femur up. And then from here, we will just relax forward. So relax the neck, the arms, the shoulders. And again, just allowing the weight of the body to approach this first layer of sensation, and we'll just relax here. No need to go have an intention of depth or go too deep too quickly. This inhibits listening, it inhibits relaxation. So never in a rush in this practice, just really softening into it. And what's particularly, potent about beginning to explore ourselves at this level of creativity is that one of the things that it asks of us, really what the practice becomes, what the asana and the breath and the meditation is really preparing us for, is to have great faith in our bodies and to have great faith in life itself. So when we're approaching a challenge in the body, in the heart, in the mind, we don't simply contract. We don't simply react in a habitual way. That we can be in our body in an intelligent way and have faith in the body. And we can breathe and stay present in a way that we can trust life. And this is just incredibly, incredibly valuable. This is beyond technique. This is beyond teachings. This is beyond meditation. This is just being alive. This is just recognizing the creativity of the cosmos and how it comes through us.
Good. So let's come on up from here. And we'll try to remember, or I'll try to remember, that we had the left leg on top. So we're going to be a while till we get to the other side. But you can take your leg off of that bolster and straighten them out. And I'm going to show this on the large bolster. So we're going to keep going, and we'll get back to that forward bend. If you don't have a big bolster, and this is one of the rare poses that I think that the large bolster has some advantages over the blanket alternative, because it has a tractioning effect in the mid back. But if you don't have it, just fold up a blanket so you have a nice pad. This is just more direct, the blanket, whereas the way we're going to place the bolster has this kind of pulling effect, which is quite lovely. So I'll just show it both ways. I'll show the blanket as well. But if you have a big bolster, just sit on one end of it. So it's going to come right up your spine vertically here from lower to upper. And where you sit on it and how you place the mid back is really dependent on the length of the torso. So I'm sitting pretty much all the way on one end of it. And then keep your feet on the floor, go to your hands, and then try to place the other end of the bolster right under the shoulder blades. Initially, the back of the head can come to the floor, and then you kind of gauge, once you relax the feet out and the shoulders are off the floor, you can snuggle upward a bit and get the shoulders on the floor as well. And this is where it starts pulling. So you'll feel sort of this tractioning from the mid spine down. It's very lovely. So it can either just be the back of the head on the floor and you can take the time to bring the shoulders down, or you can snuggle right down to the shoulders. The legs will open a little bit past the hips. The arms are relaxed. Preferably to have the head flat on the floor. You can put something soft under if you like. And then you can just make your adjustments from there. If you do not have the large bolster, then just take your pad. It's very close. It just doesn't have that little extra. So take your pad, approximate height of the bolster, and do the same thing. So come over it with the feet on the floor, bringing, this is a little different because it's not as supportive. You don't have the support down the spine. So we want it a little bit higher so it doesn't bring too much compression into the lower back. So for this, I pretty much have my shoulder blades on the roll. So if I come too low, I start to feel it in the lower back. So I have to bring the body down a little bit more. But very, very close. We're still getting this open thoracic compression and this lovely upper backward bend. So either way. And if your awareness is
being absorbed into your breathing, once again, feel the openness and the relaxation and the release of the exhale breath. And just do this very gently. This is not something to force. It can be very subtle and just a felt sense in trying to bring a sense of balance and equanimity to our breathing. And if we truly are going to be open to cultivating this faith in our body and this trust in life, and open to this idea, or this reality, I should say, that the universe itself is just simply expressing creativity through us, then the beauty of our yoga is that it's inviting us to cultivate a genuine sense of equanimity. So all of this is done from our innate capacity to sit quietly in a place of equanimity, and understanding that the true equanimity is perceiving both unity and multiplicity without the least contradiction between them. And I'm not just talking, this is not when we just want to explore, some esoteric sense of enlightenment or awakening. This is moment to moment. This is in every aspect of our life. And let me just say that again, that true equanimity is perceiving both unity and multiplicity without the least contradiction between them. So we then, it's almost a form of surrender to the universe that is whole and complete. There is no contradiction between unity
and multiplicity in the universe, in the cosmos. So in order to allow that unity, that oneness of all that is to come through us, we want the vessel, mind, heart, body, spirit, to be open to that. So allow yourself to simply become aware of your breathing. So you can breathe a little slower if you'd like. You can breathe a little deeper if you'd like. But allow this awareness, you're now aware that you're breathing. So allow the awareness that you're breathing, the breath itself, and your physical body to very naturally just blend into one thing, just weave into one thing. Awareness, breath, body, just woven into one experience. And when these really intermingle and we cannot find a boundary between body, breath, and awareness, this is then the relaxation and the quieting to assess and explore and feel these deeper energy patterns. So from here, if you're on the big bolster and you want to try this, it's easier on the big bolster. If you're on the folded pad, I wouldn't advise to try this until you remove the pad, and then if you'd like to try it, but do it very slowly because we're going in a contradictory a position. So no need to try this. If you're ready, you can put the feet on the floor and just roll off and rest. But if you'd like to put the feet on the floor and start to bring the knees up to the chest and really do assess every step of the way, and you can just keep bringing the knees up and over the bent knees. Yeah. So again, if you have the pad, remove the pad, and you can then just do this. If you have the big bolster, so right now that bolster is just pressing into my lower back. Very nice. And then you just keep bringing the knees up over the chest till your throat starts to contract, and then it's really hard to talk, and just come into a snail pose. Make sure you're not straightening the legs out. This will activate the lower back muscles, keep them bent to keep them relatively unengaged. And we'll just stay here for a short amount of time, but also knowing that this compression of the thyroid gland is very, very therapeutically healthy for your entire metabolism. So not just compressing muscles and joints, but compressing internal organs and releasing stimulates a production of chemical balances and hormones and fluids. So lovely way to keep your endocrine system incredibly healthy is by compressing into this frontal space. And this particular position is quite ideal for that. And just make sure you're getting a little sips of air of breath. You don't have to have a lot of breath. Good. And then when you're ready, you can release this wherever you are. Just relax the legs down. Let's lie down. We'll take a very short rest here because we don't want to forget to finish the forward bend. So just take a bit of a rest, just so everything sort of tingles and dissipates, and we'll move on. Good. So let us come on up. And then again, for the second side of this forward bend, we will have either bolster or pillows nearby. And we remember we had that left leg front and on top. So we'll take the left leg and just slide it underneath the right leg. And then we'll take the right leg and put it over. And so try not to sit on that right heel. So you might just have to move it out of the way. So we want to try to, I know that this right hip is tilting, but there's no way around that. Maybe not, maybe it's not tilting for you, but my hips are my hips. So again, if this is not so accessible, you can always release the bottom leg, yeah? And then I was suggesting to use the support of the bolster to just ease into this, to not go to what you think is the deepest layer of sensation, but just the first layer of sensation, so your body can really feel safe and relaxed as you ease into it. In a way, it's really funny that when we do start to allow the flow of our connection with creativity, and we do start to uh, really intuit what equanimity is, it's really funny that really the most important thing is simply being. The simplest thing and the easiest thing, and it's always with us, to simply be. and to keep our capacity to observe active without getting entangled in what we're observing. It's deceptively simple, but that is really the most important thing that we possess as a human, is to simply be. This brings us, true peace, true inner peace that is not perturbable. So it is not like we need to go looking for it. It's not like we need to cultivate it. It's not something we can find. It's something we simply recognize. We just recognize this presence that has always been there, will always be there. And it's through this recognition that we relax. It's like, oh, yes, thank you. I am present. I am presence. And everything else is just part of the show. And sometimes the show is scary and challenging, and sometimes the show is sublime and beautiful. And the yogi just sits with that, just sits at this place of equanimity, not seeing a contradiction between unity and multiplicity. Good. So let's come on up from the shoelace. Let's untie the laces, untangle the tangle, and come on up slowly. And we will relax the legs out for a moment. Want to stay on the best terms possible with the knees. And let's then bend that left leg in towards us. So this time we're going to reverse and keep the right leg on top. Put your pillows or bolsters in front of that left leg and just place the right leg up, again, that angle, and slowly come forward, and making sure to emphasize relaxing the lower back as much as possible. Don't force, don't let the weight pull you into it too quickly. You can modify the weight with the arms, any other additional supports you need, and find a depth and a position where you are not even concerned about the time. The awareness just gets absorbed into these deeper layers of energy, these deeper layers of patterns, the vibrational tone of the body. This is from Wei Wu Wei. I'm going to read you two sutras because I can't really decide between the two. The first one is biting through. Every breath, each movement, all activity is completely, inseparably interwoven with enlightenment. Complete realization is bound into every petty difficulty and wholly liberated and illuminated through quiet awareness of that fact. This one is coming to meet. Every instance of recognizing a teacher is an authorization of spiritual power. The most important one of these, and the only absolute necessary one on the way to complete realization, is recognizing yourself as your own teacher. And let's begin to slowly roll up through the spine, allowing it to come back to just a very gentle elongation and relaxation. And let's just sit here for a moment, just sit with the feelings, whatever we want to call them, energy patterns, vibration, aliveness. And just take a moment just to appreciate that there is really nothing to untangle and nothing to figure out, that intuitively we know, even if we obscure it at some deep place within us, we know that everything is perfect. Good. So let's lie down. You can just open your legs out and let's lie down. And let's take a little longer rest now, since we've just done this pretty long sequence of forward and mid spine. So just find a nice, comfortable, relaxing place and we'll take a rest. And when I say that everything is perfect, I'm not saying this from a place that we, overlook or deny that there are tremendous challenges that life presents to us. I'm saying that everything is perfect in the same way that I'm suggesting that creativity is uh, is from our source, from this place of pure consciousness, and we simply are a vehicle for that. So we could say creativity, we could say perfection, we can use any of the words that are limited in representing the fundamental oneness of our universe. So the perfection, to really embody that everything is perfect, what we're really exploring is that at that very fundamental level of oneness, that we are an expression of that oneness. We are a splinter of this infinite deity, and we just allow life to come through us. And the teachings, the recognition that we are our own best teacher is then to face, to explore the challenges as teachings. So we're not alone in this. Life is presenting us with daily, minute by minute, opportunities to learn about equanimity, to learn about the way we contract, the way that we expand, learn about how the physical triggers the emotional, how the mental triggers the physical. So the perfection is in the ongoing revelation, is in the ongoing process of being alive. It doesn't end. The perfection, the creativity, the enlightenment is not an end point. It's not another experience. It's not mystical or spiritual. It's the trust that I'm talking about is the trust in the process of life, faith in the wisdom and the intelligence of the body in relation to this teacher called life. So it just comes through us. We don't have to be afraid because we're simply learning. And of course, we certainly do not take my word for this, or really anybody's word for this, no matter how elevated we believe them to be. This is something we want to feel right down into our cells. This is what I mean by feeling into these energetic patterns of the body. This is cellular. In our cells at this level, we know this. Okay, so let us come on up, and I want to use the large bolster. If you don't have one, just be a little bit conscious. If you're going to set up pillows, we want to be able to support the whole torso with this. Or maybe this would be the other way around. Yeah, this would be the other way around because we want to have some compression in the lower back. And then I might even put some blankets here. So what I'm trying to make here is buttocks is going to be on the floor and then compression in the lower back, but I want the whole torso supported. So I'm just going to put this aside and it's easier to use the bolster. And so then if you have the bolster, if you have the pillows, you don't so much have the secondary option, just use them the way that I just described. But if you have the bolster, what I'm going to suggest is to sit on the bolster again, so it's vertical up the body, and tuck it into the lower back and just come into the backward bend with the buttocks on the floor. And this relatively, it's hard to say because it's your lower back. But if this, you feel at this point in the practice, you want more compression than this, then simply take a roll. Or if you have the small bolster, you could put the small bolster back, but sort of supplement it this way. So putting something small over this, now this becomes a rather formidable backward bend for me. It's even hard to say formidable when I'm in the backward bend because it's so formidable. But still, buttocks on the floor, something this roll. This would be too much if you can't talk when you're in the pose like this. It's too much. So I would unroll this a little bit, or I would go to the small bolster that's softer. Yeah. So you don't have to do that. I'm not suggesting it necessarily. I'm just giving you the option. So what we want to do is just have something tucked in this lower back. Those of you with pillows, just make sure the torso and the head is supported. So we're not arching over it. It's to bring the focus and the concentration into the lumbar area. Good. You can always bring a greater sensitivity to how you're actually exploring sensations themselves. So if you come to what you might consider a point of sensation or the center of the sensation, let that start to flow through the entire body. So don't imagine it as something solid and static and permanent and located even. Let that sensation flow through the body, let it breathe, let it expand, let it change. And be creative, let go to the point where you don't know what the sensation is. And notice that the closer you get to it, when you suspend your definitions about it, we can't really, not only can we not locate the sensation, but we really truly can't define it if we don't refer to memory or knowledge. It's just this energy. So it's not esoteric energy, it's that inability to locate and define sensation and to just go into this vague intuitive place with it and feel it more as vibration. So let's put your feet on the floor. And if you do have that a supplemental roll on top of the large bolster, then be very careful here. Feet on the floor, just let the knees sway back and forth a bit. Make sure that the muscles are feeling safe to do this. And then we'll just roll off of this to the side, come off of the big bolster or the pillows. And then we're going to keep moving here. So we're going to consider this a longer sequence. So come on up and bring the soles of the feet together in a nice relaxed way. So the heels have a lot of distance from the groin, and soften the lower back and let the shoulders relax, come in and down. And we'll just come into this gentle, soft forward bend. Making sure you're not holding the head up where we might have a little trepidation to really feel what's going on in the neck. Explore the tension that's being held up there. It's okay to lean into it. It's okay to feel it. And we'll come into this forward bend. Sometimes we can, believe that this quality of yin, the quality of not knowing, is a passive one, and that it's lacking intelligence, and that the yang energies of accomplishing and ambition and activity are somehow superior. But the qualities of I don't know, and that's really all awakening is I don't know, and being present with direct experience. But the qualities of the yin, the I don't know, are qualities uh, of, of, of patience, qualities of receptivity, qualities of quietness, of really intuitive listening. So the qualities of yin are just as intelligent as the qualities of yang. It's a continuum. It's a spectrum. It's the way that it's the way that the cosmos dances. It's the way that the world dances. It's the way that all relationships dance, and it's a way that we dance with ourself. It's a way that we find intelligent context with everything, and how we pull back from it and surrender, and how we move into it and we have some sense of certainty. So very valuable to spend quality time exploring and genuinely exploring these qualities of yin. So we don't turn the yin yoga into a routine of just trying to open the physical body, trying to just accomplish range of motion. We're exploring much more than that. When we quiet down, when we come into stillness, when we really surrender what we think we know, and allow that movement of creativity to be genuine, this is very valuable. Good. So let's come on up from here, please, this forward bending, if you're still in it. And we'll go right back into the backward bend that you were in. The only choice would be is if you had the roll and you want to remove it, go back to a little softer. If you didn't have the roll and you want to try it, but same thing. If you have your pillows, same thing, tuck them into the lower back, feet on the floor, support the whole upper body coming back. Make sure you're good, that the buttocks stay on the floor, relax the legs out, and right back into our backward bend. And coming into this knowing of this dance of yin and yang, this dance of masculine and feminine, is also realizing that every moment is a mantra. We don't need any other mantra than the moment and what it is revealing and our relationship to how we dance with it. And this comes from the faith in the body and the trust in life. This is why we really begin to realize that the invitation of life, this trust in life, the invitation is always to
be with this present moment. This is the aliveness, this is the richness. And this is not a technique, this is not a practice. We don't have to practice it. And this is not spiritual. This is subtle. And it doesn't matter what we're doing, it doesn't matter how active we are, what the challenge is, we can become more and more subtle. We can be moving quickly, we can be accomplishing, we can be even multitasking, and still inwardly be spacious, still be aware of the invitation of life to be subtle. And this is why we become grounded. The hatha yoga is just grounding, so we can feel this primal pulsation of contraction and expansion. You feel it. We feel it in the back, in the knees. We feel it in the shoulders, in the ankles. This is the nature of the universe, contracting and expanding. So when we start to open up the body, so there's a balance, we're not just contracting and just contracting, then we can become more spacious in our thinking, in our relationships, in our relationship to life. There's not just contracting, no matter what life is presenting, there's also the ability to let it go and breathe and be in a healthy, open, safe, loving vibration with life. So it's our relation to our yoga, to our bodies, to our mind, to life is not ever situational. It's always vibrational. To feel like, yes, sometimes we need to contract, we do contract. Sometimes we need to expand, we do expand. And it's the balance between those two. That's the yoga, I might say. That's the yoga. So let's just move a little bit more, if you will, bear with me. Let's put the feet on the floor. Yeah, and come on up. No, don't come up. I'm sorry. Don't bring your body up and forward. Roll to the side. Yeah, so we'll roll over to the side. Let's come off of this backward bend. Just curl up on your side for a moment. Let that release. And then what I would like to do, instead of going back into the butterfly pose, I'd like you to take your bolster or your pillows and put them behind you. And then set your legs up really in any forward bend that is calling you. You can come in just a square pose is nice to put the one of the feet on one of the calf muscles with the legs in. If you want to go back to the butterfly position, you can open the legs out. So we're just going to come forward after we do this. So whichever forward bend you really want to complete your practice with, and then put your bolster or your pillows about arm's distance in back of you. And then we're either gonna, what I like to do is interlock the fingers, straighten the elbows, and put them up on this to really, really open the upper chest and the shoulders. If this is not accessible to interlock the fingers, just put the arms on it, or just whatever capacity you have here. But if you can just, if you're able to, and you can place them up on this height, it's just so nice. So you don't have to worry about the muscle fatigue, and it's kind of pushing into it. Yeah. So we'll just hold this for a bit. And very nice here to let your breath just be long, slow, and deep. So we really just feel again, just the subtlety of your breathing. And when we do slow the breath down enough, we can then feel all the micro movements of the shoulders and the breathing mechanism. It's just so lovely to feel this this level of connection. And again, if you feel a point or a center of sensation, don't obsess with it, don't fear it, don't push it away. Let it expand a bit, let it flow, let it change, let it breathe. It's not locatable, it's not static, it's not linear. It's contracting and it's expanding and it's changing. Let it change. Good. So let's bring the arms forward, relax the shoulders, and then whichever forward bend you have chosen, let's come into the forward bend.
If you would like to stay in this forward bend, feel free to do that. If you would like to move into a counter pose that your body is calling, feel free to do that. You can come into a final Shavasana. You could sit up for a few moments with me and we will close. There is Buddha for those that don't know what he is. There is no Buddha for those that know what he is. Namaste.